Hello. Welcome to my little corner. Welcome to my breakfast nook. Here we are, ready to have a little chit-chat. I bought some roller skates, which is exciting. I've been making art. I want to share about how you build your own life, right? So I've been going through some life shit, and it's really made me think about what I want out of life, what I want to pursue, who I want to become, what do I want to experience, why the fuck am I here? So I've been thinking a lot about how we are in bodies, our selves, our consciousness, we are in bodies, and our bodies allow us to experience feelings and senses and just life, right? For me, part of that is about respecting the vessel, honoring the body that you're in, being so very grateful for what it allows you to do, who it allows you to be, how you can express yourself. It's ironic too. Maybe ironic is not the correct word. I've been struggling to express myself recently because I'm trying to figure out what I want to say, what I want to share with the world, what I want to talk about. You know, for a while it was like health coaching. And while I still value all of those things, I still think about all of those things, they're still important to me. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. I'm going to value and respect my body, and I'm going to go for a walk every day, and I'm going to work out because I enjoy it. I like endorphins. I like how my body feels after I lift weights. Currently, I'm nursing, 2 injuries. Got some hip issues, as well as a back issue, neck. You know, the joys of working on a computer too much. And so I can't do all of the athletic shit that I want to be doing, which drives me just a little bit psycho, more than normal. But I have been thinking a lot about how we are in these bodies, and our purpose here is to experience life in all of its wondrous adventures and epicness through the bodies that we're in, right? We all have bodies. I've been exploring how I can be more present in life. I've taken up yoga, actually, consistently, going once a week. My hip does not love that because technically the hip thing that I'm nursing, I really shouldn't be stretching my hip more. I should be loading it instead of stretching it, but I digress. You don't care about my hip. Or if you do, thank you. She's trying. In your 40s, your hormones go a little crazy, so hip tendinopathy is common. Interesting that we haven't developed better solutions to this challenge. I mean, yes, HRT and things like that, but just the medical system for women is not what it should be, shall we say. I picked up some roller skates, which I'm excited about. The issue with that is, again, you put wheels on a leg that's attached to a hip that's not doing great. Probably not the best idea, but we're gonna do it anyways, because why not? What do I want to share? Okay, so I've been thinking about purpose. I've been thinking about why we're here. I've been thinking about how can I lean more into my joy. So roller skates, I've been doing some art. I said I would share it, so here we are. Here's a little art piece. I worked on that recently. If you're on the pod and not on YouTube, go find YouTube and you'll see it. I've been trying to make art more. It's very interesting coming from going to college to study painting and creative writing, and then feeling like that was squashed for me. That was I graduated college in 2006, so that was forever ago. And it has always been a journey to come back to art for me. This time, I'm trying to let it be easy, to let it be playful, to let it be fun, shall we say? Not that it's not fun, but as someone who has perfectionist tendencies and is hypercritical of myself, I often stop myself before I ever even create anything. Hence the lagging with the podcast, right? Or posting or anything like that. It's not even like a logical, I'm afraid to be seen or to make work or to show. It's more of like, this isn't going to look the way I want it to look. And I know that because my skills aren't at the level that I think that they should be at in order to be an artist. And I blame that entirely. Okay, maybe not entirely, but I blame a part of that on going to college for art. And going to a college that was about art, like fine art in quotes, versus illustration or narrative art or comics or manga or animation or anything that's like character narrative based, which is what I do. I play with color. This is all about color and creatures, like, and what is this? It's a fairy. It's a fairy and some flowers, right? And imagination. And there was a part of me when I went to college, I did some paintings that had fairies in them, right? They were fairies in flowers. And my professor told me to take them out. Well, first of all, he's like, I presented the painting, and he's like, why are there humans on your flowers? What is this body here? What is this person doing here? And of course, I, being a naive young person, I didn't fight him on it. I just accepted that what he had to say was law. And I took the fairies out, and my senior thesis exhibition was just a bunch of postcards of really well-painted gouache flowers. Gouache is a type of paint, so I painted them in gouache. Flowers painted in gouache. It was a beautiful exhibition. It just was not at all what I had originally thought of or intended with my art. There was always some kind of magical element to the stuff that I was creating, and my college squashed that out of me. And then it took a long time for me to come back. I did take an illustration class at Mass Art. I did take an animation class there. And then when I moved to California, I applied to Animation Mentor and was rejected the first time, which is, it's a 2-year animation program. And you study Maya, which is a computer program that allows you to do animation. I don't even know if it still exists, but it was terrible at the time. It like crashed and like, it was obnoxious, let's just say. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to spend 8 hours animating just like a finger move. That's absurd. That's a waste of my time. And also, I don't want to work on a computer that much. So I also probably was like, oh, I have terrible animation skills. Why would anyone hire me, right? I feel like that's often been the case with me, of being overly critical of my abilities. And I know I'm not alone in this. I know that there are other people, specifically artists, specifically people who want to be creative, who want to lean into self-expression more, whether that's through writing or illustration or painting or dancing, but they stop themselves before they even start. Like, you have so many thoughts in your head that prevent you from ever making that first move, ever taking that first step. You know, like Wouldn't it have been great if I had stuck to my podcasting schedule and just made one every month or every week? like I had originally planned when I started my podcast 3 years ago. But I get in this hang up of like listening to the little voice in my head that says, oh, who are you to do this? What are you even talking about? No one even cares. Stop saying these things. Put it away. Whatever, right? And, I know we all have the voice. Even like, I've been reading this book. What is it? Here we go. My book right here. The War of Art, which is by Stephen Pressfield. It's kind of like one of those like daily readers. So like it has like a little bit that you could read each day. It's not really like a novel. Like you're not sitting and reading through it. You're reading a little bit at a time. And it's all about resistance. It's all about the ways that resistance shows up. And that essentially like resistance is your embodiment of fear in a way. I mean, I'm saying that. I don't know that he says that. But like the way that you procrastinate, the way that you're a perfectionist, the way that I won't do something until I know how to do it. Those are all little ways that resistance is showing up, right? And with my art, it's very much like that. It's not like I don't sit down and suddenly enjoy the process of creating. It's very much a battle in my mind of like, oh, I gotta draw something. It has to look good. No, it has to look this way. And like it's a fight to even just draw something and be okay with it. And like I signed up for this course program. I don't know. It's called Fly Your Freak Flag by The Good Ship Illustration, which is a podcast. Go listen to it. It's great. But it's been interesting because coming from a world of art, fine art, and now I'm in a world of illustrators, it's just so refreshing because like it's playful. This is why I keep calling my art bad art. I've been posting little snippets of my art on Instagram and using the term bad art because to me it is bad in the sense of like I want it to be bad. I want it to be playful and ugly and look like a mess and make many mistakes. I want it to be not hard work. I want it to come easily because I have skills. Like I can draw. I know how to color. I know how to paint. I know how to do all of these things. I just don't necessarily know how to get what's in here in my head onto the paper the way I want. And that in itself is resistance because it doesn't have to look like what's in my head. At art school, my college was not an art school. It was a liberal art school, which had a very, very high level art program. But they were all about you either had to be a realism painter or an abstract painter. There was no magic. There was no cutesy, no little illustration style. In fact, we had one professor, she taught a class, which I fucking loved. It was basically how to use art to teach children, right? So we had to do little projects, like we made a poster board that was a multiplication table. And it had like little stickers that you could put on it so that when the child got it right, they could get a prize or like something like that. She also had us illustrate like some children's books. I did mine in Arabic because I grew up in Morocco. So Arabic, I had also written Arabic in college, so I knew how to write it. I made a children's book that was cut paper in Arabic, and then I had the translation in the back. But that was one example of like how you could teach language to children. I think that's what the project was, but it was like exploring how to play with cut paper and exploring how you could use different elements to get the children involved. It was a great class. I bring all this up because that professor was an illustrator, and every other professor in the art program, like, they shunned her. She was I even want to say, I think she was in like the basement classroom, like the one that was the farthest away from anything that no one wanted to go to. And I distinctly remember, like, no one was her friend. And, like, maybe, I mean, I could be exaggerating here, but it seemed very much like they were the artists against the illustrators. And we hear this in the industry. You hear this all the time. And it's annoying because when you come from art and you go into illustration, you have all this, oh, it has to be realism, or it has to be really abstract. And, like, in illustration, it can be whatever the fuck you want it to be. You can do whatever you want, and it's beautiful. You don't have to have it be realistic. It can be whatever colors you want. You can have it have fairies and trash pandas and, like, whatever. Put clothes on animals. All of that. And that's beautiful. And so coming back to that has been great. It's hard. I will say it is hard to let go of old patterns of, like, this has to look like a human. It has to look real. No, bitch, it doesn't have to look real. It can look like whatever you want it to look like. Or not at all what you want it to look like, and let it become whatever it's going to be. That's a hard one for me, of, like, the way that I have always made the art that I want to make is to draw it out exactly the way it's going to be, so that when I color it, I know where all the lighting and the shading goes, right? I like draw it out, trace it, put it on the watercolor paper, and then paint that. And it's a whole thing. And it takes forever, right? Like, because that's just step one. Well, step one is finding the references that I'm going to draw from, because yes, I can draw, but I can't necessarily draw from memory the way that I would like. And being in this illustration program, I mean, it's not an illustration program, but it's about finding who you are as an artist, as an illustrator, and exploring that. Like, where do your ideas come from? Where does your excitement come from? It's great. It's a great program. So you should sign up for it if you want to. Lost my train of thought. But yeah, so I'm slowly trying to get back into creating art. I've made art 12 times this month. Woohoo! And by make art, I mean, like, sketch and stuff. Like, well, I have actually made some pieces. Like, the other day I went to a goth market, and when I came back, I was like, oh, I need to doodle or do something. So I made this little thing. And I call it bad art. That's what I was talking about. I call it bad art because it allows me to not worry about it being perfect. To not worry about the fact that this fucking thing, is this a pigeon? Is this a chicken? Is this a crow? We don't know. It looks like a bird, kind of. This one is a bat. Yeah, kind of. This little yellow bit right here was a splotch of paint that got on there. And it was supposed to be an eyeball, but then I left it. Because I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. Let's just let it do what it wants. And that's a whole new concept for me. Letting art do what it wants. Oh my God. It's like I am a fucking control freak, and I don't know how to let it just happen. But we're trying, right? We're trying. Another one that I did was this one, which was kind of fun. I was doing like I think it's a snake plant, but I was trying to go with, like, I wanted this color combo on the plant, but then I couldn't figure out what to make the background. And of course my blue Posca pen, I think that's what they're called. They're like paint pens, ran out of blue. So you had to kind of let the texture be a part of it. And the fact that the paper is not the best quality, so it's killing the paper. It's just all part of it. You just make bad art because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to sell this. I'm not going to do anything with this. Nobody's ever going to see it. Well, except y'all. And like, it doesn't matter. I also made this one. I was happy with this one. This was fun. It's a little cactus. That's where the color things started coming in. I was like, let me play around with these colors and see what I can do. And all of this was just like, we're just playing, right? I'm not actually focusing on making hard art. This one, on the other hand, though, this one was a little bit more harder. But I wanted to draw something and like color it in and play around with that. I illustrated a children's book back in Boston about a giraffe exploring Boston and like going to different parts of it. I think it was Elsa the giraffe, and there was an elephant, maybe? There was two characters. They bounced around Boston, went to different places in Boston. But the biggest issue I found, and this is one of my things that I'm working on with my art, is instead of using color to create depth, color, the more saturated something is, the more vibrant it's going to be. So it's not going to create a shadow. In order to create a shadow, you have to have a different color that allows it to fall back or pop forward if it's a highlight versus a shadow. And I am still playing around with that because sometimes I worry if I bring in a different color, it's gonna make it muddy or make it ugly or like, something like that. My friend Hannah, she does art in different colors, like skins. Sometimes the skin is green or like, blue or purple. And the way that she does it while also creating shadow and highlight is great. So I'm learning from her. Well, I'm not learning from her, but like I'm using her as an inspiration to figure that out. I've also been trying to sketch humans more. So I have I think the website that I've been using is called Quick Poses. But basically you can select, it's going to show you 20 images for a certain number of seconds. It'll be 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute and a half. I usually do 30 seconds, then 45, then a minute. I haven't done too many minutes, but you just kind of like, it cycles through different poses. And you can have these be clothed people or not clothed. Here's some from, the other day that I was just doodling. Actually, those were real people. I also have tried to go to a coffee shop and draw, which is quite frightening because people stare at you. Here are some from the other day that were like, this was from the coffee shop, but these are from the Quick Poses website. A little death guy and like some other ones. You can't really see them because, but it allows me to practice drawing people without actually having to stare at people too much. The ones I did yesterday had like, they all were wearing like costumes, which is actually kind of fun. And I want to start doing more of those for like longer than a minute, so I'm getting more than just the gestural drawings. So I've just been trying to explore art more and lean into different hobbies and find joy. I don't know, make this easier. I'm gonna keep exploring art and trying to make it easy. Not easy, but like low pressure, low stakes. See where that takes me. I have a post-it note on my wall over here that says, I am a children's book author and illustrator, but we're not there yet. Hopefully we'll get there. I feel like I'm going to try and share my journey doing this and see. Oh, that's a wasp. No, No, don't build your house right there. Why? Fucking summertime, man. It's wasp season. Okay, well, thanks for listening, watching, following along. Hopefully there'll be more of these. Have a good rest of July. Rest of the week. Bye. Ciao.